Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Good? Good. So my name is Pascal. I joined Indiegogo about 3.5 years ago. I'm based in Paris and covering Europe. And I'm here today to give you some insights about how to run a crowdfunding campaigns, and hopefully if you do it one day to avoid some mistakes. Oh, may I have the clicker? Thank you. So crowdfunding has really evolved over the past years, where nowadays it really became more a marketing plan on raising raising money, but more like a go-to-market strategy, and in this idea, mostly for any tech-focused products in campaigns. Some example, like for a card, or it's going to be mobility, but really we have been moving away from the cultural part, or at least on Indiegogo, but cultural part, as well as the non-profit that we don't have on the platform, or very few campaigns anymore. We partner with GoFundMe for that. So we are really tech-focused, but also because it's on the idea of you are pre-selling your product, and it's more like on the idea of getting insights from the community. I come back on that later, but it's not just raising money. Indiegogo, just a quick overview, it's more than almost 2 billion now raised on the platform, in covering its global platform, more than 1 million campaign, and 18 million unique visitors. Last year, just in the tech and hardware category on Indiegogo, it was 40 million raised on the platform. And we actually took the lead on that part in terms of crowdfunding compared to Kickstarter, which is our main competitor. And campaigns in the tech hardware space raise actually 20% more money on our platform on average. So like I was saying before, the idea about crowdfunding is not about just getting money anymore, but really getting market validation, branding awareness, and the market entry in the way that it gives you an idea of where your product is more trendy. Is it going to be like North America, or is it going to be Southeast Asia, or is it going to be Europe? And sometimes you will be surprised, even in Europe. I had a campaign for a connected wine aerator, and they got a lot of trending actually from the Nordics, which they didn't expect. So that's a good way to know where, which market potentially you should open following your crowdfunding campaign. Fundraising, the money you reach from, the money you get from a crowdfunding campaign should be dedicated to go to manufacturing. And when we look backward at some of the big failure of crowdfunding, very often, to my opinion, was they were run too early. They had a working prototype, but they were far from the industrial prototype, and there is a big gap in between these two steps. And if you do it too early and you don't have your industrial prototype, first, you are not going to potentially have the right cost to manufacture your product, but also, like I said, there is a big gap in between working prototype and industrial prototype. And the money you got might go into R&D to arrive to this industrial prototype. So when comes time to go into production, no more money. So that will be the advice I'll have regarding when should I launch a campaign. Better to do it now at the industrial prototype. Some quick example of campaign, Sobro Smart Site Table, that really they had when they launched on the campaign page, they were already into production. So market validation, and we see it more and more, like I said, it gives you the data to see, is my product very interesting for the market? How is it perceived, and where, and by whom? And we had a lot of corporates lately that have used our platform. Last year we had Lego, we had Gillette, by the past we had Whirlpool or General Electric, and using the platform to really test the market and see feedback directly from the community. Like I said, Lego, we had last year, they launched this campaign for Lego for adults. Crowdfunding is also a great way to develop brand awareness. You are going to communicate and launch a global platform, international, and in order to succeed, you'll have to be excellent at marketing and communication, which means you are going to get more and more people seeing your brand and your product and really increase the brand awareness. That's what Pamu's slide did for their product, and they have actually launched several, and each time you can leverage the previous campaign, because each time you are going to increase your community and brand awareness. Market entry, like I said earlier, it's really about opening new markets and to make it easy through an online platform. And that's one of my campaign I had in the first or second quarter of this year, and they passed the 2 million bar now on Indiegogo. But for them, it was really to open the market. They are based in Switzerland, and it was to go to North America mostly. So I'll give you some quick insights about how to run a successful campaign. Keep in mind that crowdfunding is all about marketing. If you are good at marketing, you have the right product, it will work. But it's marketing. So 3 ingredients for a successful campaign. Like I said, product. You need to have a product that is appealing to people, potentially has the widest, broadest audience possible, but it needs to bring something new that is already on the market or has value in terms of, like, for example, e-bikes. The previous campaign, the one I was showing you earlier. What's the difference to what's already on the market? In the case of the one, it was a foldable e-bike, but it was also very cheap in terms of entry level, because it was only like 800 or 900 euros. But it works. I had a campaign launching yesterday based out of Spain called Capri e-bike, and they did 115K just at 115,000 just at the launch. But it's also because when you look at their bicycle, it's like old-fashioned bicycle. It's not like this new weird e-bikes. Second one is community. That is very important. Let me look. Yeah, I should have gone further. So product. I'll go. Sorry. So the second one is community. It's really important. I would say in 95% of the 95% of the cases, success of a crowdfunding platform is really linked to the size of your audience, of your community that you are able to build before the launch of the campaign. So to give you 2 or 3 important numbers. Size of the community. At the launch of your crowdfunding campaign, you are going to do an emailing to your community. And on a qualified email list of people who said, yes, I want to know when you are going to launch and I want to support you at the launch, the conversion rate is about 5%. And just with this 5% community, a conversion rate on your community, you need to reach 30% of your goal within 48 hours. So it's really important to work very hard before the launch, and you launch when you are ready, when you have the size of the community matching your ambition and your goal. Yep, no, that's good. Like I said, you need to reach 30% within 48 hours, and this 30% shouldn't be the displayed target, but the displayed goal. Like, I don't know if you put 50,000, but internally you would like to reach the million. So in your community, when you build it, you need to work to think about raising, just with your community, 1/3. That means 300,000. I give you a quick formula that can help you know how many leads you need to collect before the launch of the campaign. Here is an example with numbers. If I want to reach 100,000 and my product price is $129, that means I need to at least build an audience that is going to be about 5,000 emails. That's a common question I get in terms of budget. How much should I dedicate in terms of marketing to my campaign? And what we've seen is on average, global market is going to be around 10-15% of the goal you want to reach. So if you want to reach 1 million, you are going to probably have to invest $100,000 to $150,000 in budget. Some other email list building strategy. I'll go quickly over that, but first thing first, if you think, Guillaume said it very well earlier in his presentation, it's all about building a community, and first things you should do is have a landing page where you can present your project and where people can leave their email address, where you can do lead collection. So that's really the first step that you need to do. And about community, for me, that's a valuable asset for a company. Even if suddenly you change your mind and decide, no, I'm not going to do a crowdfunding campaign, having built a community has a lot of power and strength. Even if you are not going to use it for crowdfunding, you will always use it in terms of finding ambassadors, finding people to give you feedback around your product. So don't see it as a waste. Even if you work on it and you don't launch a campaign, that's a valuable asset to have. But it's not, numbers is important, but it's not only just about the numbers, it's also about the engagement of your audience. If you send an email to your audience, but they hear about you only like once every semester, you are not going to see the same engagement as if you send an email every month. And it doesn't need to be just about your product. Again, Guillaume said it earlier. It's to have a content marketing strategy that is talking about a subject related to your activity. It doesn't need to be just promotional and talk about your product. I'll pass this one. Just it was to say, this slide is just to say that people that are not part of your community that are going to arrive on the page of the campaign, if it's already funded at 30%, it's a lot more engaging than if the campaign page is only funded at 10% or 5%. So set your goal as low as possible, but still keep it in a way that you'll be able to produce if you just reach this goal, and you'll be able to deliver your backers. Regarding the story, so components of the stories, of course, you need to have a video and have a campaign that is very visual, user experience, user case centric. It's when you go on the campaign page, the first things you are going to look is the video, but also how this product is going to make your life better or more convenient. You don't really care somehow, or it's going to come second on what are all the features of the product. It's more like how it's going to make my life better, and it's what you have to showcase in your storytelling when you create your campaign page. Here is a structure that it should have. Like I said, it needs to be very storytelling oriented, and test also the prices for your perks, how people are going to react and expect, like if your product is a little bit expensive, people will leave your emails. If they didn't know that your product is going to be 1,000 and were expecting to pay only 300, of course they weren't prepared and they are not going to support you. So there is a lot of preparation ahead. So quick tips on the video. It needs to be 2-3 minutes long maximum, and I just understand that people get hooked. They need to be hooked in the first 15-30 seconds. If not, you're going to lose potentially them, and they're going to stop the video and not go. So on the perk strategy, it needs to be focused on your product. So forget all the T-shirt, caps, pen, whatever you want, keychain. It's really about your product, and potentially, if you only have one product and there is not that many accessories, you can always do pack of 2 or 3, whatever. But also, be careful with the pricing. Sometimes I see campaigns they launch and the very early bird price is like 80% reduction or even 60%, and think about the backers who are going to come later on and there is only 20% off on the late, and they feel like a little bit like, but why the first one they got 60% and I only get 20? So be reasonable in your price. Usually we advise that it's going to be compared to a retail price, the late bird is going to be 20% off maximum, and in between early bird and the very early bird, another 20%. But don't go over 40% if possible. Also because don't cut your margin too much. Be careful about that. I gave you some insights here about how much it costs, the different part of running a campaign. The preparation is very important because it's gonna make your campaign successful or not. That's also a question I get often on, Pascal, when should I start the preparation of the campaign? And if you're asking me the question, that means the answer is now. The sooner the better, because we always, if we have never done it by the past, we underestimate how much work and time it takes to build a community, and it's not something automatically related to budget. Yes, it can go faster if you run Facebook ads and you have a lot of budget, but if you want to really have an engaged community that is valuable, you need to work enough ahead for that. So some quick tips. The length of the campaign should be around 28 to 40 days, knowing that on Indiegogo you can extend it once up to 60 days, but it's really rare to have a very long campaign. It's already hard. It takes a lot of resources and time on a company to run a crowdfunding campaign, so you don't want it to be automatically too long, and 28 to 40 days, that's the right time. You start it on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, like a weekday. Why? Because it's when you have the best opening rates in terms of emailing. So you wouldn't want to start a campaign on a Saturday or on a Sunday because people are not automatically in front of their computers. And since a strong part of the strategy at the launch is based on emailing, you want it to be when you have the best opening rates. In terms of timing for the year, it will depend. It will depend if you have like a seasonal product. Potentially, you are not going to sell a winter sweater or skis during the summer, because even if it's a product people are going to back and want, and they are going to get it later, it's still the seasonality of the product has still an impact. But if it's not season related, the only period we say you should avoid is Christmas time, going from beginning of December to mid-January, because people spend money for gifts for Christmas and less for products they'll get later on the road. Video, yes, like I said, campaigns that have a video on the campaign page raise, I think, if I remember, 40% more or something like that. And one more for the road, like I was saying, crowdfunding is all about marketing. So do a lot of A/B testing on test your textual message, what's the best message to address which community, but also the visual content that is very important, images, videos. So do a lot of testing to really have the best message to your community. Thank you for your time and thank you for your attention.